everyone, Eloise here today for Lawnfawn and welcome back to the channel. Today I have an ocean themed birthday card for you all. We're currently in summer over here and I was just really in the mood to create something ocean themed, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm also going to be creating a window card, so I'm going to adhere a sheet of acetate to the front so you can see through to the inside of the card, which I think is really fun and just added something extra to a really simple card. I'm going to be using 4 ocean themed stamp sets: your Sublime, Octopi My Heart, Fintastic Friends, and So Jelly. So I just went ahead and stamped those down onto some watercolor cardstock with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I then clear heat embossed over the images just to make it a little bit easier to watercolor in. I'm then now using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers to color all of these guys in, as well as a water brush to help them blend really nicely. So my idea for this card was to use a ton of rainbow colors, and what better way to do that with ocean critters, because I feel like you can sort of color these guys any color you like and they sort of just work, and I feel like the more colorful the ocean critters are, the better. So I really like that about them, and I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to create a rainbow card today. So I'm just going through and sort of figuring out in my head of how I would like these images laid out, because obviously I want them laid out in rainbow order, so I'm just sort of trying to figure out which colors need to go where and what images I would like to color what color. So I'm just going through and I colored the lobster in red, the octopus in blue, the starfish in a browny yellow, this little fish here with orange and yellow, the vines and the seaweed with some greens, and then the corals with some pinks. I'm then coloring this little fish at the top yellow and blue as well. I'm coloring in this skinny fish with a deep green color. I decided to bring in a little bit of teal for another piece of coral. I'm then also pulling in a really light pink colour for the top of the jellyfish, because I really wanted a brighter pink, not so much of a dusty pink in there as well. And then I'm colouring in these couple of last little fish in with some purples, since I know they're going to go at the end of my card. And then I'm using this light brown colour, which is sort of like a goldy yellow to me, and I'm colouring in that big light fish there. And then to finish off, I'm just adding a little bit of grey details to the jellyfish. I went ahead and dried those all with a heat tool, and then I used the coordinating dies to cut them all out, and I set them off to the side. Now it's time to work on my card base, so I decided to pull out these ocean wave border dies, and I'm going to be creating a little window in the front of my card, and I really want it to be sort of like wave shaped. So I took a white card base that measures 5.5 inches wide by 8.5 inches tall. I scored it at 4.25 and folded it in half. I've then gone ahead and placed the wave die on the front panel of the card with the card open, and I'm just going to run that through my Big Shot machine. I'm then going to remove the die, and I'm going to work on a couple of little strips that need to go at the bottom, and I'm also going to die cut a piece of watercolor cardstock the exact same way. So I get the watercolor cardstock exactly lined up. I'm going to open up my card, put in a piece of watercolor cardstock, hold it together, close it up, and then adhere the die back into place. And this way I can be sure that that wave is going to die cut in the exact same area that I need it to. So then I'm just going to pull the watercolor cardstock out, press that die down to make sure that it's definitely in place, and I'm going to thread that through my Big Shot machine. I've then just gone ahead and just lined it up to see that it lines up perfectly, and it does, so I'm really happy with that. I'm also going to keep the top piece of that die because I'm going to cover up the adhesive on the inside of the card a little bit later on. Now it's time to adhere the acetate into place, so I'm just cutting some thin strips of adhesive and placing it on the inside of the card. I'm then going to remove the backers and adhere on my acetate. So I'm just butting that acetate up into the score line of the card to make sure it all lines up, and then press it down into place and cut off any extra acetate that is not needed. I'm then going to add a little bit of adhesive onto this strip that's going to go at the bottom of the card, and then I'm also going to add that on the back or on the inside of the card as well to cover up that adhesive. I've then taken that spare piece of watercolor cardstock that I had die cut earlier and adhered it on the inside of the card to cover up that adhesive, and then I did the same thing with the strip. Now that my card base is all ready to go, you can see here that you've got that little acetate window, and then on the inside it's really nice and clean as well because we covered it up with the spare pieces of cardstock. Now it's time to work on the wavy piece that's going to be on the inside of the card. So I decided to use tumbled glass and salty ocean distress ink for that. I really just love these colors together, and even though they're quite like far apart, I just think they do blend really nicely. So I'm going really light on the top and dark on the bottom, and then I'm just going to blend them in the center to create a really nice like oceany sort of look. I'm then going to flick on a little bit of water, pick it up with a paper towel and dry it off with a heat tool. I've now added adhesive onto the back of this wave piece, and I'm going to adhere it on the inside of my card at the very bottom, so I still leave some room at the top for a little message, since you're not going to see the message from the outside of the card, which is exactly what I wanted. So now that my card base is all ready to go, it's time to work on my sentiment. So I used the Best Fishes sentiment from Fintastic Friends, and I just stamped that on the front of the card just at the top of the waves. And so now that that's all completed, it's time to adhere all of my images. So I was closing the card and opening the card, determining where I needed to adhere the images so you could see them all pretty well even if the card was closed. And then I'm just going to get adhering. So I'm using all foam tape to adhere these down, and using foam tape in the inside of the card wasn't an issue for me. You could definitely adhere them down flat. I just like the dimension a lot. So as I said before, I am going to adhere them in rainbow order. So I'm just going from pink to purple along the card. I just really like the way that looks. I guess I did sort of cheat here with the starfish at the end because he is obviously like a yellowy brown color, but I just really liked the way he was peeking through there. So now that all of my images are adhered, the card is complete. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. I think it's super duper fun, and it still gives you a lot of room there to write a message. And of course, if you wanted to cover up the foam tape from the inside, I would just die cut some plain white shapes of those images and just adhere them on the inside, and no one would ever know the difference. I think that would be really nice to do. I just didn't do it in this video. So I really hope you guys enjoyed my card today. I really love this super fun summer card, and I love the way that it looks from the outside and on the inside of the card. I just think it's really fun and different. So thank you so much for stopping by today. All of the supplies that I use will be listed down below, and also the blog post, and I will see you all next time. Thank you so much for stopping by today.